What's up everybody, Soul here with another Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles video. Today we're going to be going over some mid-game tips, as in these tips benefit you once you've passed the initial stages of the game and will carry you on into the late game. And so with that said, make sure you go check out my other video where we had the starting tips listed to help you in your general gameplay and to get established. This is going to be a little more comprehensive and help you be more aggressive and successful in your mid to late game. With that said, huge shout out and thank you to everybody who responded on that last video. Some of these tips are coming from the community themselves. I'll make sure to add screenshots of those comments in here. And so without any further ado, let's get right into it. First is riding a chocobo grants immunity to most status effects. There are only a few exceptions. While on a chocobo, characters and the chocobo are immune to poison, sleep, stop, blind, confuse, undead, vampire, petrify, doom, disable, silence, float, slow, immobilize, and chicken. Riders can still lose bravery though, despite being immune to chicken. Mounting a chocobo will also cure it of confuse, poison, stop, sleep, doom, immobilized, and disabled. However, if a chocobo is chicken, toad, petrified, or berserk, you cannot mount it. Really powerful mechanic here in chocobos, something to always make them a little more valuable and to consider, a reason to use them for. Tip number 2. Blindness doesn't work the way someone might assume. It doesn't affect the character's accuracy, but instead it enhances the target's evasion. So when blinded, be sure to hit targets from behind for 100% accuracy. Really cool stuff right there. I thought that was really interesting when I learned it. Huge shout out to Black Hat on that one. Tip number 3, Phoenix downs one-shot undead units. Turn an enemy undead with vampire and kill them immediately with Phoenix down. Easy. Come up across an undead, got items, you can even throw them. Kill them instantly with those Phoenix downs. Really interesting way to pay to win. Tip number 4, auto potion from Chemist is absolutely broken early game and can be quite effective on the mid game, and it still holds effect late game depending on the job. It stays relevant on backline jobs, while melee jobs benefit more from Shia Hadori and other things with high brave. But if you're running that backline job and you got that auto potion, it can be really valuable. Moreover, if you don't keep low in potions, auto potion will automatically use higher strength potions instead. So you get rid of the cheap potions, maybe even the high potions. That auto potion will automatically dish out an X potion when triggered. Really nice stuff. Tip number 5, when reviving an ally, check their CT count. You want to raise them when it's nearly full, as in 100. Versus raising them when it has a lot left to fill, like 12 and so on and so forth. The reason this is important is because if you raise a character that has a low CT count and it's not near its 100 mark, they're going to have to wait for everybody else to take their actions before they can do anything, posing a bigger threat to them and increasing the likelihood of them being knocked out again. Tip number 6 is check enemy equipment every battle. This can be done by just simply pressing start, going to status, and thumbing through the units that'll be listed on the field, clicking each one, checking their status, and you get a full breakdown. This also can be done when you're on the battlefield and you just simply press either the X, square, or Y button, all depending on what you're playing on, and then you freely look around at the different tiles, target a unit, and examine their status, which is all prompted on the screen, and decide what you want to look at. Tip number 7, different weapons use different stats to determine the damage. So swords, rods, and spears all use the character's physical attack times the weapon's damage to determine damage. Staves and poles use the character's magic attack times the weapon's damage to determine damage. Daggers, bows, and ninja swords use physical attack plus speed times the weapon's damage. Knight swords and katanas use physical attack times weapon's damage plus bravery to determine damage. Cloths, books, and harps use physical attack plus magical attack times the weapon's damage. And guns use weapon damage times weapon damage. Flails, axes, and bags use a random number between 1 and the weapon's damage value times the weapon's damage to determine damage. Very interesting stuff. Good to know, because when you play your different jobs and you're utilizing different weapons, you want to know what to push for in your stat growths and your pieces of equipment to maximize your damage. Tip number 8. When a character is charging, they're more vulnerable to attacks. This isn't just true of damage, this is also true of accuracy. By the way, when I say damage, I'm talking about both magical and physical damage. So, when you see a character casting a spell, preparing an attack, maybe aiming, that character is hard locked, walk on over, deal the bonus damage with a higher hit rate, and enjoy yourself. Tip number 9. Use AoEs effectively. Target units and tiles alike. If you're targeted by an enemy AoE, walk your character over to the enemy or enemies and use their own AoE against them. This is highly satisfying stuff. I like to use AoEs to even help zone and keep enemies away, casting it in empty slots and allowing the enemies to just simply walk on over and receive the hit if they dare. Tip number 10. Summoners do not friendly fire. So, with that said, I just talked about AoEs and hitting allies with it and so on and so forth. That is not true of the summoner spells. They have a big, large range AoE that they hit, and they will not hit your allies. Vice versa is true. The opposite is true. The opponent summoners will not hit their allies with their summons either. So feel free to cast it in a crowd that is mixed with your allies and the like. It will not hit them. It is very convenient. Tip number 11. Start taming monsters as soon as you can. Poaching is incredibly lucrative. You get amazingly powerful items by poaching your monsters, and monsters will multiply on their own without needing a breeding partner. Poaching, of course, isn't available until Chapter 3, but it never hurts to start your stock as soon as you want. And the more you have, the more you're going to gain getting those rare items and so on for that poaching. Tip number 12. Use abilities to permanently alter your unit's faith and bravery. Every 4 points gained or lost results in 1 point changed permanently on your character. Max faith and bravery out of battle is 97. Tip number 13, Army Desertion. Be aware when you're lowering your unit's bravery below 10, it turns them into a chicken. If your unit gets 5 or lower bravery, they'll desert your army. Likewise is true if a unit gets too high of a faith. If their faith reaches 95 or higher, they will desert your army for a higher cause or power. So be aware when manipulating your faith or bravery. Tip number 14, chickens. So lowering your opponent's bravery below 10 also has an effect on them and turns them into chickens. Chickens make anything and everything easy as far as fights go, as in they will just run around like their heads are cut off and they won't do anything to you, making it incredibly easy to JP grind, find items, whatever it is you want to do. That character, that enemy will not be an issue. Tip number 15. The amount of damage dealt or healed doesn't impact the amount of JP gained. Whether you deal 999 points of damage or 3 points of damage, it will yield the same amount of JP. So, if you're trying to JP farm, this is where Stone Throw comes in, shines like a star. It doesn't matter the damage you do, throw it, hit somebody, 1 HP, whatever, you're gonna get a JP boost, regardless of how much damage it is. Assuming that the damage isn't 0, of course. Tip number 16. A great way to farm JP is to pile up on enemies, both healing them while beating on them, locking them into place, healing them, and hurting them with low damage skills, such as I mentioned, Stone Throw. Entertaining and fun. Tip number 17. You can hurt your friends if you want. Farm JP off your own units too. I've mentioned this before, but I want to go into more detail. Sometimes enemies won't even engage in a fight when their HP is low, wasting whole turns, fleeing in a corner, and then sitting there. This is a perfect opportunity for you to turn on your own friends and start waylaying on them. Whether it be a heal, Stone Throw, you name it, dealing damage and using other abilities on your allies will generate JP just the same as if you're targeting the enemies. So have a heyday beating up your friends. Tip number 18. You can also use random battles to safely farm JP without level concerns once you unlock the Zeklaw's desert location. This map has a degenerator trap which de-levels your character. Use this to level your characters down and prevent them increasing too many times in levels and raising the difficulty of those random encounters. This is especially useful if you're trying to keep all of your army even level, but you're worried because some units end up getting way more powerful than others. Just simply jump on this map, go level down, have a field day. It works phenomenally. This is also a key mechanic in min-maxing your character stats, as in when they de-level, they will lose those stats they would otherwise gain depending on what job they are on. More on that in a future video if you're interested. Tip number 19. Ramza's Squire job deserves extra attention. Ramza not only gets extra abilities compared to normal Squires, he will also get bonus stats, stat growths when compared to a normal Squire. This is fantastic. It gets better and better with each chapter, and he gets access to really good abilities like Steal, which increases his bravery, Scream, Ultima, you name it. It is phenomenal. Of course, Ultima can only be learned once the skill has been cast on Ramza and he survives, but regardless, it's still really cool and unique in that way. Tip number 20. Unique characters starting classes also are similar to Squires, but they're obviously titled something different. While looking at their abilities and such, you'll see that they're the same as Squires. Don't be alarmed. Those stat growths from those unique characters and those unique classes, Squire albeit, are very good. These characters are made to fit a certain role or play a certain way, often being more powerful than the usual character, and those stats are heavily reflected in their base role, albeit Squire-esque. And so it's very safe to level up these characters in those specific jobs. Orlandu is a great example. If you look at his stat growth and what he's got going on for his Squire job, quote unquote, I'm doing air quotes over here, you'll see that the stat growths are actually pretty massive for him because he's so powerful and he's meant to be. So, as I said, if you're leveling up these unique characters and you're worried about them leveling up on Squire and you want to focus on other jobs, actually hold the phone, jump back on that Squire-esque job, their main job, and feel free to level, as in those stats are very, very high. If you enjoyed this video, please consider checking out my playthrough of Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles, all of which is on my channel. Of course, it's on a playlist. That's where I got a lot of these scenes and images used for these videos, and this video in particular, and so please feel free to jump over, check it out, join me in that playthrough. We're having a ton of fun. And so there you have it. Those are my 20 mid-game tips. I hope you enjoyed them. I really appreciate the community leaving the feedback on the last video. Once again, make sure you go check it out if you haven't already. And also, do the same on this video. If there's some tips in here that haven't been mentioned yet, whether in the starter video or in this video, drop them down below. Help everybody out. Let everybody know what you know, your little knowledge, gems of knowledge, and share it so that everybody can benefit. It really means the world to this community that we stay together and support each other, and we enable each other's success. I think it's fantastic, and I'm really moved by a lot of people's comments in the last video. Even if you're dropping a hint that's probably been repeated or whatnot, it's still very nice. These acts of kindness are tremendous. With that said, thank you so much for watching. I hope that this has been a benefit for you, and yeah, huge shout out and thank you to my Patreon members. You guys and gals are the ones that keep the content flowing and keep everything going, so I deeply, deeply appreciate you. If you're here still and you're watching and you're considering it, check out the link down below for my Patreon where you can support our effort to make great content as well. There's also a Discord link down below as well where you can of course come join us when we talk all things gaming, Final Fantasy Tactics, and alike. Thank you so much again for watching, and until next time, I will catch you later. Bye.